Welcome, everybody. So I'd love to find out where everybody's from. So just tell me where you are right now and just write that in the chat box. So just in terms of logistics, I am going to give you a talk about my experience, essentially what I've done and what's worked for me, about setting up an online course and monetizing my expertise. This is definitely not the be all and end all in what you have to know. There are lots and lots of experts out there, and I've definitely learned from a few, but I thought it might be useful to you, so you can at least get started. So Bristol, I used to live in Bristol. Hi, Kate. I used to live in Bristol. I went to Bristol Uni. Manchester, have not lived there, but been there and have had a fabulous time. And I'm currently in London. Hey, Lucy. So also, do you guys see a functionality where you can raise your hand? Essentially, when you have a question, just do raise hand and I will be able to unmute you so you'll be able to ask your question. So when you've got questions, just write them and I will try to answer them as I go. But if I don't manage to answer them as I go, I'll try to do it at the end of the session. So I'm just going to share my screen because I've got slides for you. Okay. There we go. How to monetize your course. That's the right one. Does everybody else also have loads of tabs open? It stresses me out, but I do it anyway. So here we go. So who am I? Why am I here? I founded a startup which is in the retail and fashion technology space when I was doing my MBA at Chicago Booth, which is one of the top business schools in the world. It's a US business school. And I didn't have any technical background, and yet I founded a tech company which now has an app that's been used by thousands of people, a website, we've even got our own algorithm. And I've recruited and worked with a technical team, but my background is actually in marketing, and so I'm a non-technical founder. And I've been asked about how to go from being a non-technical founder to basically doing all of this tech stuff and creating these tech products. And so I started writing about technology and entrepreneurship in Forbes in a regular column, and also I've contributed to the Financial Times and the Guardian, essentially on technology and entrepreneurship. And this is all going to become relevant in what I'm about to teach you. But essentially, I now do two things. I've got my business, which actually has investors and, kind of like that's the main thing. That's called Enty. And I think some of you already know me through that. And then the other thing that I do, which is essentially monetizing my expertise, but also, in the process, hopefully helping people, that's Tech for Non-Techies. And it's the combination of these two things that essentially taught me the skills I'm about to show you. So first of all, I just want to give you some good news because I don't know about you, but I am exhausted of bad news. I'm just seeing bad news all the time. I cut down my news consumption because it's just too depressing. But online courses, that is an area of good messaging, essentially. Online learning is growing. Online learning was due to grow even before COVID hit. So according to the LinkedIn Emerging Trends report, which comes out every January, they were even in January predicting that online learning was going to be rising. And obviously now with COVID, it's just one of those industries that was set to grow kind of like this, and now it's basically gone like this. So this online learning is the place of opportunity. Also, the way I try to think about it is it's not just about money, it's also about helping people with your skills, and it's about growing your personal brand. So, the way I would approach it, just to kind of ease off the pressure, because we've all got too much pressure right now, is best case scenario, you make money and you find a new revenue source, which even when we come out of this mess, you will just have a recurring revenue source, which is, going to help. I think we all need some help paying our mortgages and rents right now. So that's the best case scenario. worst case scenario, like let's just think about this helping you grow your personal brand and helping you establish as an expert in your field. Because if you become established as an expert in your field, even if you don't manage to monetize your expertise via an online course in the next 4 weeks, then you will be able to do it in the longer term. So you might end up getting clients for this particular thing if you're creating content. You might end up getting new business opportunities or get paid speaking opportunities. So that is the good stuff. Before I continue, I just wondered, has anybody taken online courses before? Just write, if you just write yes or no, that's another option. And if you do write yes, it would be great if you could just tell me what course it was or what you were learning, just so I can understand a bit more. We've got our first taker. Luciana or Luciana, you've taken an online course. I'm a lover of online courses, and in general, I would advise you take online courses from other people or other institutions to learn how they are structured. There are lots of free ones, but then there are paid ones as well. Writing and marketing, yeah, always useful skills, Luciana. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is obviously you need to figure out what you're going to be teaching people. So what's that skill you've got that people are going to be willing to pay for? So in terms of figuring out what your strengths are, this is a book that I found really useful. It's called Stand Out, and it's by an author called Dory Clark. I really love this book. It's basically about how to find your breakthrough idea, so that the thing that you want to be recognized for, and then how to grow your personal brand essentially. So what essentially you need to think about, what are the key interesting things that you uniquely know that people want to know as well. So these are some of the questions to get you started. So in the field in which you work, whatever that field is, what weaknesses do you have that actually you've had to overcome? So in the example that I gave you from myself, is that when I first started out building a technology company without knowing any tech whatsoever, I felt very insecure and I had no idea how to do it. And it was very unpleasant. And then I ended up learning the things that you need to know, and then understanding what I actually could get away with ignoring and not bothering to learn. And then when I actually figured that out, people started asking me, okay, as a non-technical person, do you really need to code? By the way, the answer is no. How do you recruit a tech team? But essentially, I then created essentially a second income stream out of my weakness. My weakness is that my background is non-traditional in that environment, and essentially my background is lacking. And then I realized that there are lots of other people who want to do what I was doing and also feel the same weakness and kind of insecurity about asking things that they feel like they should know about. And so I turned that weakness into strength essentially. So what do you feel maybe in your background that you don't have that other competitors have, but you're competing with them anyway? Like that could be a skill. How did you learn this stuff? Another way to test is what advice do you get asked about most frequently? So are you super good at SEO? Do people always ask you about how to do marketing? Do people usually ask you about how to write well, or why are your Instagram posts so amazing, or how to communicate on LinkedIn, or just whatever it is? Just think about, when people ask you for advice, what do they ask you about? And here, this doesn't have to necessarily be about business. If you've got a specific business thing, like I knew I was being asked about, how do you go from being a non-technical person into tech? I got asked that a lot, and so I essentially started asking that question. But I've got friends who are super amazing cooks, and I've literally been asking them during this lockdown for their cooking tips. maybe you've got a really good way of making food for a specific diet, or maybe doing stuff that's around the house that, you know, we're all having to take care of our homes right now by ourselves, and most of us don't know how to do it. So do you have some kind of skill that people really need and that people are asking about? Another point which is super important is to keep it niche, because there's a lot of opportunity. Everywhere that there's opportunity, there's also going to be competition. So if you just go for something really broad, like how to bake, or, you know, how to transition your career, or how to get into technology, whatever it is, or how to set up a business, you're going to have a lot of competition. And there is honestly a lot of competition. Like, there is Coursera, there's Udemy, there's now Masterclass, and, you know, these are like big production things. And as you'll see later, like, I'm managing to compete with them, and I'm not spending money on production. Like, you're literally on a Zoom webinar with me, and I'm using Canva right now. So it's perfectly possible to compete with the big people, but you've got to have a differentiated offering. And keeping it niche is one of those things. So I think the more niche it is, essentially, the more you'll be able to sell. That's in my experience. So once you've got your topic, or maybe you've got 3 topics, essentially, like, you need to go through these first 3 bits, go through that, and then come up with one idea or several ideas. The next thing I would do is then start experimenting without making money first. The aim of point 4 is to experiment, to basically see what strikes people's interest, rather than making money. So, for example, I've been asked about how I have started creating online courses. I have never actually given a public talk about it. So this is the first time I'm doing it. Maybe I'm going to make a course about it. Maybe I'll make some content. I don't know. Maybe I'll publish a pamphlet. I don't know yet, but I just noticed that this is something I'm being asked about. So let's just see. So I created some slides, and I created a free webinar and basically put it on various social networks to see whether people would come. So I can see on this webinar, we've got 12 people. So that means that there is some interest. Whether you guys would pay to be on this webinar, I don't know yet. Like, that is not the point, but essentially I'm testing, are people interested in this topic? I think we had about 30 people registered, 12 turning up. That's pretty good. So I'm seeing that it's something relevant. So, and also, I am seeing how easy was it for me to create this, because, like, you know, this content was super easy for me to create because I'm writing about my own experience. So I actually didn't need to do, you know, more research or extra work. I've already done the research I needed to do in order to create this. So this was a pleasure. Sometimes I end up writing something and I realize that it's taking me too long because I don't like the topic or I'm not interested in it. And then I think, okay, even if people want that, it's just too painful for me to create it, so I can't be bothered. So once you've answered these 3 questions, experiment by creating some kind of free content. So it can be free webinars like this one, just do a Zoom one. Create some content on Medium. That's, you know, if you're doing professional stuff, Medium is a place to go, Medium or LinkedIn. Maybe submit some blogs to, submit guest posts to other people's blogs. Maybe just do some social media posts. Just see where the engagement is and where you're getting comments and where you're getting people coming. And so that should get you to help pick your topic. Now, I saw that there was somebody commenting. I just want to see what that is. Kate, you haven't done yet, but you're planning. Yeah, I mean, I think the quarantine is like the best time to learn some stuff. I've recently signed up to learning dance online, which has been, and I'm really glad that I'm doing it online because nobody can see me. So my plan is to come out of quarantine like this amazing dancer, and everybody will be like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do this, because like the ugly stage is happening in my living room. So yeah, watch this space. Anyway, digress, sorry. So the first thing, like after you've figured out what it is that you're going to go to market with, so what that skill that you want to monetize via an online course, you've then tested it with some free content to see where you're getting engagement. The next thing you need to do is you need to do a pilot. So there are lots and lots of ways to make an online course in a very expensive way. Don't do that. So like, don't be one of those people who thinks, in order for me to even get started, I need to buy this expensive camera, I need to buy a microphone, and I need all of this production value stuff. No, you don't need that. The aim of your first ever thing, so the first ever course that you do, is basically to test the viability of the product, which is the course, for as little as money as possible. So the aim of this is you want to find out, do people want this? You already should have some inkling from the work we did in the previous slide, but now you're starting to test, are they willing to pay for it? And here you've got to set a price. And online courses have ranged from, like, I've seen 10 quid to I've seen courses for £500. So I would say research what other people are doing, but also research what's going to make sense for you. Because, is it going to make sense for you to create a course that's taken you, I don't know, 4 weeks to create, to charge £10 for it? I mean, you need to reach a lot of scale in order for that to be relevant. So you need to think about whether people are willing to pay for it, but also what are you willing to invest in terms of your time and effort, and can it fit into your life? So in my case, the Enty stuff really fits in with the Tech For Non-Techies stuff, because Enty is a tech company. And so essentially I'm saying, like, these are the things I've learned and I'm teaching them in Tech For Non-Techies. Also in Tech For Non-Techies, I've now got people who are coming to do guest talks. Like tomorrow, I've got a non-technical founder who's the founder of essentially a social platform for lesbians. It's called Her. And the lady who created it, she went from branding to Y Combinator to now raising millions and having millions of people use her social platform. And so she's giving a talk tomorrow. Now, I know her through my work at Enty. If I didn't have Enty, I wouldn't have had the chance to meet her. And so I'm using Enty essentially to feed this business, which is Tech For Non-Techies. So I think when you're thinking about how to monetize your skills, I would really encourage you to think about something that can be an easy fit. So, if you're a parent, like, you're doing that already, and then maybe you'll have a course about, I don't know, how to be, something niche about being a parent. I don't know. I'm not one, so I don't know what that would be. But essentially make sure that whatever you're doing is not too much extra work, that it's already either helping you with whatever else you're doing, or at least it's not draining you too much. So in order to test viability, it is important to have a goal. So the first time I created my online course, I ran it for the first time in January, and my goal was to sell 10 spaces for £55, and I did that. And literally, it wasn't 11, it wasn't 9. Like, I aimed for 10 and I got 10. So I don't know if, if I would have aimed for 20, I would have got 20, but whatever. That's what happened. So how do you actually go and do this? So the first thing you need to do in your pilot, by the way, if you've got questions for this, just write them in the chat box. So in your pilot, when you literally just want to test the viability of your idea, is you want to keep it as cheap as possible in terms of production. So I'll tell you what I used for my first pilot is literally iPhone camera. The iPhone camera is fine, but I also find Zoom actually works like it's easier. So what I do with Zoom is I now have a premium subscription, which is I think $11.99 per month. So not super expensive. And I would create a meeting. So I'd set up a meeting, but I wouldn't invite anybody to that meeting. And when you have a premium subscription, that meeting gets recorded. So literally, I would have this. So right now, I'm talking to you guys through my laptop. So I would essentially be doing exactly the same thing. I can prepare slides and I can share slides. And so it's exactly the same experience. The students will be able to see me in this little screen, and then they'll be able to see my slides. And then that literally gets recorded. And I've got a MacBook Air, so once that is recorded, I literally trim the beginning and the end off. Like I trim off the when I'm actually switching it on and switching it off, just those few seconds. So I don't have fancy editing software. I know that if you don't have a Mac, if you're using another kind of computer, you should either have free software for this included, or you can download it. I think there's something called Audacity, but literally, I'm still learning to do video editing, but that's only because I want to learn. Like, it's not because you have to do it. Literally, get a Zoom subscription and record your videos like this. Another thing that I did at the beginning is I didn't create a new website for my courses. I already have a personal website. And so and my personal website, which is basically sophiamatveeva.com, it literally just says, well, I'll show it to you in a second. That is hosted by Squarespace. So literally it's £15 per month. And on Squarespace and also on Wix, you can have a password protected site. So literally when people sign up to your course, just give them a password to the password protected bit of Squarespace or Wix, and that's all you need to do. And again, so our costs so far are Zoom, which is $11.99 per month, and Squarespace, which is about £15 per month. My advice is don't use Wix, use Squarespace. I found it much easier to use. But if you use Wix and you know how to do it, great. But I just find it less intuitive. Also, what I would do is I would create the videos. I would create the videos on something like Zoom or on my iPhone. Then I would upload them to a password protected site on Vimeo. And then I would put in course notes and the video with a password to it, literally on my Squarespace. And I'll just show this to you in a second. Can you see, guys, can you see this? Tell me if you can see my screen. Somebody, can you see where it says home, Tech For Non-Techies online courses? Yeah, awesome, cool. So literally, this is $15.99 or 50, whatever, somewhere around £15. And I didn't get a designer; I did it all myself, and like it's easy. So then I have live courses, and live courses is literally that's the password protected. So I already had my password ready. So literally, this is just written material that I have. So it's just stuff that I've written based on my knowledge. Like there's some stuff I'm writing about AI and Facebook, blah blah blah, and homeworks, links to things. Some of which I've written, some of which have been written by other people, and then link to a video, etc., etc. So this, as you should be able to see, this is super easy. Okay, now I'm going to go back to this. Do we have any questions or thoughts? Any, like at this point, ladies and gents? Okay, if not, I'm just going to continue. But if you've got your questions, just post them in the chat. Okay, so we've got production. It's super cheap. Then how we're going to promote it? Essentially, this is very standard for online courses, whether you're doing a pilot or whether you're already established. But in a pilot, we're just keeping it super cheap. So the first thing you need to do is you need to announce a free taster webinar. And that's standard practice for generally online courses. You know how you might have seen on social media that there'll be all these adverts for, do you want to learn, I don't know, how to speed read? And then, sign up to my free training. So lots of online courses and online course providers are they're following this model, and this model works. Basically, you have a free taster webinar. My version is what non-technical founders need to know about tech. And it's a 60-minute version of the course, which is a 5-week-long thing. And so the aim of that is really, it's not just advertising, because if you were just there to talk about how great your course was, nobody would want to come. Like, the aim of this free taster is that people should be able to use the insights from that free taster at the end of those 60 minutes. So make sure that it has value. But also, if you've got a course, for 4 or 5 weeks, there is no way you're going to be able to put in that information into 60 minutes. So you put in the core concept, and then you basically say, okay, this is all we've got time for now. If you want more, I'm running a course and it starts and usually my advice would be your free taster webinar should be 1 to 2 weeks before your course start date. Because essentially, like, I would give it, the whole thing, I would give about a month in terms of promotion. So today you announce your free taster webinar, which is going to take place in 2 weeks. So you spend 2 weeks promoting the free thing. Make sure that the people who come to the free thing register with an email address. So with Zoom, you've all had to register via an email address. So literally just do that. You can promote this free webinar by all sorts of things, but essentially I promoted mine on Meetup. I know some of you have come through Meetup. Eventbrite, you set up a link on Eventbrite and literally just post it everywhere that's relevant. I know some of you came through that. And once you've got your Eventbrite link, you can also send it to other people who have lists or who have blogs for similar things. Or you can, if you were doing some promotion here, from when you were experimenting with the topics, you will already maybe have some following, or maybe you already at least know you would have already written a blog. Maybe you could do some comments and add your Eventbrite link there. So basically, then you host your free webinar, which is your 60-minute intro. And then after that, you do follow-up emails to webinar attendees. And there's now that I understand it more, there are actually specific formulae that you follow. But when I first did it, the first time I ever did it, I actually did a webinar not for me, but for my business school. So I literally gave a talk to the alumni of the University of Chicago on what non-technical founders need to know about tech. And people turned up to that webinar, so I didn't even market it. They marketed it, like the University of Chicago Alumni Network marketed it. So people turned up, and then they signed up to my course. So that's another way of doing it. I see I've got a question. I'm just going to see if I can answer it. Oh, I don't know why I can't access the Q&A bot. So would you mind just literally pasting the question from the Q&A and just put it in the chat box? Because for some reason I can't click on it. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I can see it. Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, I'm going to get to learning platforms, but the reason why I'm not talking about learning platforms right now is because they cost money. So my advice would be to do this as cheaply as possible before you get to grow. So the aim is for you to the aim for you here is basically to find out if you've got some viability in what you're doing and if people want your course, essentially. Then, sorry, okay. Here we go. Then after you have already hit your target. So whatever your target is. So in my case, after I sold 10 spaces and I did it the way I showed it to you, I then decided that this was going to be a thing and that I wanted to do it and that it fit into my life and that I actually liked the format. And after I did the pilot, I decided I was going to invest in growth. And this is when learning platforms, I think, are relevant. But my advice to you is, first, do it as cheap as possible, and learning platforms are not necessarily the way to do it. Because having a personal website is a useful kind of thing anyway, so might as well do it there. Anyway, so the aim of this growth stage, which you should only invest in after you've done your pilot, is to create content and income which will essentially, theoretically grow when you sleep. It's happening with me now, and I know that there are people who are monetizing like completely in their sleep. I'm not one of those people. I still do quite a lot of live stuff because I like it. Especially now I like interacting with people. I really need it. But also, I'm still fairly new to this game. So I think, there are people who literally just pre-record a course, do Facebook ads and kind of never check in. So that is possible, but I don't know if you would want to do that. Anyway, so the point of the growth stage is you already know you want to do this course, and you already see that some people are willing to pay for it. And also from your first section, or actually I forgot to say this, in the pilot section, what I would recommend you do is I would recommend you don't pre-record most of your content. I would recommend that most of your content should be live. So, or at least some of it. The reason why I'm saying it is when you're creating your content for the first time, you don't necessarily know what your audience is going to have trouble with or what they're going to be most interested in. So if you do, say, 5 half-an-hour live webinars, and then you post recordings of those webinars onto your website, which is essentially what I was doing, then you will be able to understand which bits of your content you need to essentially improve or make more clear, or maybe skip. So because that's a pilot, in your stage of growth, you want to do mostly pre-recorded content, because the aim of this is you create the content, or you create most of the content, and then you're scaling it, right? So what I do now for the Tech for Non-Technical Founders course is literally all of the video content is pre-recorded, and there is also a bunch of links and written materials that I've created. So the only bit that I now do live is I have regular office hours. So the course is 5 weeks long, and I have office hours 3 weeks. So literally you do the first week without me being there. You listen to all the videos, you do all the content, you do the homework, then you have an opportunity to basically turn up and get feedback. So in that case, again, I don't need to do any more extra work, but the students get an opportunity to get some feedback and get some clarifications. And I'm finding that this works for me because I get the interaction that I want. I get to meet the students, and I like them, so this it's fun for me, but also it's useful for them. But I find that if you're talking about the same thing all the time, it gets boring. So pre-record some of it. When it comes to promotion, now I'm at the stage where I have automated some of it and not all of it. So you can obviously automate Facebook advertising. So the way you would do that is you would have your free thing. You would get lots and lots of people onto your free webinar using advertising, and then people would convert. I've heard people say that average conversion rates are 2.5% from the free thing to the expensive thing. I'm finding that mine are higher right now. I don't know, I don't think it's because I'm so wonderful, although I'd like to think that, but actually I don't think that's true. I think maybe conversion rates are now higher because people are more open to online learning. Because before, not only are you competing with other online learning people, you're also competing with people wanting to go to the pub and, obligations and dates and all this fun stuff. Now that's gone. So in my experience, the conversion rate's gone up. So you can automate through advertising. You can start doing some PR. So I do quite a lot of guest posts, guest articles. It's now easy for me to do because I've already been writing for big publications. So, but you don't actually have to write for the Financial Times. You can do Medium posts. You can write in other people's blogs. Like, it's easier than it sounds. You can do your own personal brand stuff. But also another thing that is super good to automate are the emails that you would send to your students. So now I'm going to show you something called Kajabi. Has anybody heard of Kajabi before? By the way, I hadn't until somebody introduced me to it. Yeah. So apparently it's huge. Now that I'm using it, it is amazing. By the way, just a disclaimer, I use it, and if I send you my link and you sign up to it, then I will get money for it. So you don't have to do it, but I'll send you the link afterwards. If you want to sign up, then great. If you don't, then don't. But actually, my recommendation to you is don't sign up for it straight after this webinar. Do the pilot first. The reason is it is expensive, but it is amazing. I'm going to show you how it works. Oh, come on. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to show you the front end. So this is my website for my course. So see, it all looks like professional. And it's not amazing, super great design, but yeah, like it looks good. And I'm going to show you what it looks like if you're a student. 1 second. So essentially, Kajabi is a white label learning platform. So I'm going to log in, and so this is what my students would see. So a student who has signed up. So these are two of my products. I've got several products. So this is a course I taught online for London Business School. This is the Tech for Non-Technical Founders course I was telling you about before. So literally, I'll go in there. I'll show you what it looks like. And look how professional this looks. So I've got week 1. If we go in here, I'll show you, like, there's a video that I posted in there. So literally, you can post the video. And that's me talking about something. And then I can mark as complete, and then I can go on to the next lesson. So so basically all of this stuff, all of this automation is done by Kajabi, not by me. The only thing I need to do is actually create the videos and write the content. But this whole infrastructure of how you move from the course to categories, etc., that's done for you. Okay, I'm just going to check that. Oh, you can't see my screen. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. That is, thank you. Sorry, guys. Can you see now? Yeah, because I was going in from Safari. Yay, thank you. My bad. Totally forgot that. Right, okay, so I'll start again. So this is one of the courses that I teach. So as a student, you'll be able to go in here. Look, then you press video, the first video. Then there's me talking about something, talking about the product life cycle. Then there's some content. Then, I've read this, I've watched the video, I mark it as complete. So this is me being a student. And maybe I leave a comment like, I don't understand, blah, 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 blah. Can you help me with X, Y, Z? And then I can move on to the next section and watch another video and blah, blah, blah. And then I can mark it as complete. And then I go on to the next lesson. And with Kajabi, you can actually have you can have lessons, you can have assessments, you can have a whole community in there. So I will now go back to, now I want to show you the inside of Kajabi. Can you see Kajabi, like the word Kajabi? Just want to make sure that I'm showing you the right thing. Okay, in that case, going back to this. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Can you see it now? You should be able to. Perfect. Thanks, guys. So this is me showing you Kajabi, which is the learning platform, as a content creator. So these are my various different products. So essentially, some of them are courses. So this one is a course. This one is a course. This one, I have a membership. So like you can literally buy membership to access certain courses. And these are events, like basically paid webinars that I did. So this is Introduction to Product Management, and this one I've got coming up tomorrow that I mentioned with the lady who built the Queer Women's social network. Okay, so this is what Kajabi looks like in general. Now, I think, and this is what it looks like when you first get there. So again, looks really professional. And this is a white label product. Now I'm gonna stop telling you about the joys of Kajabi, because I don't want it to be too much like a Kajabi advert. Anyway, so the good thing about Kajabi is that they really help you with automation, and they help you pre-record your content. Essentially, they take you through this 28-day Kajabi challenge, which is to take you from having no course to a course and a website and selling something. But it is expensive. I think the starter price is $160 per month. And now I'm on the plan, which is $200 per month. You don't have to start with that. It's just I'm on that plan now because it gives me more automation, like more stuff. But this is why I'm telling you, don't use it before you are sure you're going to be able to maintain that payment. It's super good once you already have your content, but my advice would be make sure to get your content and test your idea, because if you put your credit card details in and then you realize that the content isn't that good and you've never actually tried presenting this course and you realize that actually you really are not that interested in the topic, you're going to be charged quite a lot of money to find that out, and I don't want that for you. So only use it once you already know you want to do it, and once you've proven the business model, essentially. I looked around at various other things because I think there's Udemy and various other options. Kajabi is the more expensive one. I still picked it because it manages my email list, it manages my automations, and it manages my website. So all of the stuff that I need to do for my online course is there. So I don't need a MailChimp. Literally, like email communications go via Kajabi to everybody. I have my product there. I host my video there. So like now the only tech spend, or the only spend I have for Tech for Non-Techies is the Kajabi thing, which is now I'm on $200 a month, but you don't have to start there. I think in pounds the starter one is like 130 quid. Still, like, it's still expensive. You don't know what you're doing, so don't start with that. And I have my Zoom subscription and Zoom webinars, and like literally that is it. One day I'm going to start doing Facebook advertising, but I'm not doing that yet. So because I've already got some experience of marketing and using all these automated tools for Enty, I know how expensive it can get to maintain a website and then maintain MailChimp and then maintain hosting fees. Like, it can get expensive. So, and also it gets complicated because I don't know, I forget passwords all the time. And if you have all of your infrastructure kind of around the place, it can be, basically takes you more time to keep it integrated and make it work together. On Kajabi, it all does work together. So that's why I personally like it, because I actually think if you compare all of the other costs with this plus all the other stuff you get, I would recommend it. I would recommend this version. Now, if you do want to use it, again, I'll send you the link. So if you're going to use it, please use my link, because then this webinar would actually give me some money, which would be nice. But there are two ways you can sign up to it. I'll tell you the one that's cheaper for you if you want to do it. So take notes. If you just go to Kajabi to sign up right now, you will get a free trial for 14 days. In my experience, a 14-day trial is not long enough for such a complicated product, because you need to learn how to set up your course, you need to learn how to create the website, and you need to learn how to do the automated emails. And that's quite a lot. And they give you lessons, like their training is super good, and I literally followed their training and I did everything they said. And now, I'm at least making some money in my sleep, but not, I haven't done everything, but I've done quite a lot and I'm already seeing benefits. But it's quite a lot to learn how their functionality works. That's why I'm telling you to do your content first, do your pilot first, because what you don't want to be doing is working out how to create content and working out your topic and your message and working out how to use this software, this interface. Anyway, so don't sign up to the 14-day free trial. There is something called the 28 Kajabi challenge, which basically means that you'll get 28 days for free. And within that challenge, they help you set it up, and they literally send you a lesson every single day for 28 days to help you create your course and your website. So that I want to stop there, and I want to take your questions, because I don't want this to be just a Kajabi advert. I do like it, but this isn't the only thing I want to share with you. So what questions do you have, or thoughts or comments, or do you want to get some feedback, or do you want to just say hi? Do you consider the break-even? So break-even numbers, basically the way I think about it, I think of it in terms of money, basically. So for me, break-even is how much money have I spent on creating this, and how much money am I getting back, essentially. And that's why automation is such a great thing. So essentially, if I'm looking, like right now, my course, the Tech for Non-Technical Founders course, it's priced between £55 and £75. So, if you're early bird, it's 55. If you go through webinars, basically the special offer is 55. And if you just buy it without any special offer, it's 75. So if you think about it, I now spend about £200 just in tech costs. So that means that I need, at least kind of around 4 people at £55 to sign up per month to one of my courses to break even. Now, I don't want to just break even, but if it's less than 4 people, then I'm going to get stressed. But also, if you've got less than 4 people signing up at £55, then you have a bigger problem. That means that either you've created something that maybe people don't actually want, or your marketing is not good, or you just can't be bothered to do your marketing, because marketing, it takes time, it takes effort, you have to reach people. So and the thing also with Kajabi, if you're going to use that platform, is that it basically commits you to making money all the time. Now, is that what you want? I don't know. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you don't want to have this constant stream, because even if I didn't do any more courses, so imagine like I just stopped selling all courses, but I still wanted I still wanted this website to be up. That means I would still have to pay like £160 per month. I mean, that's a lot for my for this one, which is just my Squarespace one. I'm paying £15. So this is your business decision. Are you going to be so committed to your online courses that what you're going to be doing is you're going to be selling spaces all the time to make it? Because if this is not the kind of life commitment you want to make, and like I really mean that it's a life commitment, because you need to keep on creating new content, you need to carry on marketing. If you're creating new content, that means you need to learn stuff, right? Like your content has to be good, it has to be relevant. So are you going to be committed enough to do this? If you're not going to be committed enough to do this, which is fine, like I don't, this is not a, oh, you're a commitment phobe, that's terrible. No, if you're not going to be committed enough to do this, maybe you want to do an online course twice per year. That's all you want to do. Or maybe you only want to do online courses when you are in isolation. And so when you burst out of isolation, you don't ever want to do it again. In that case, take a cheaper option. Either do it the pilot way I showed you, in which case, it's basically £15 and for Squarespace, and about 15 quid for Zoom altogether. So that's 30 pounds, and I have a Vimeo subscription. So again, about £40 altogether. And that stuff I can use, like this is useful for me in other ways than just my course. Zoom is useful for me in other ways than just my course. Equally with the Vimeo, it's useful for me apart from just my course. So this is why start cheap and then decide if you want to make this life change, because Kajabi is a life change. So any other questions before we wrap up? Or do you want to get some feedback? Hopefully I'll be able to give it to you. I don't know. Cool. Well, ladies and gents, I hope you find it useful, because honestly, I find it's not that hard. So just go and get on with it. I think the world needs you, and this is an opportunity. And if I've managed to do it, and I hope you can see that I'm not some kind of like I'm not Tony Robbins, I'm not Oprah, and I've started making money because of my deficiency. Basically, my deficiency is that I'm a non-technical founder who doesn't know how to code, and I've literally created a course out of that, and people are coming and learning from me about it. So hope this is useful, and thank you very much for coming. And I will send you the Kajabi link if you want to explore that option later. Thank you, everybody. This has been super, super fabulous. Have a wonderful day.